Hi, today I'm going to show you the decks that I want to be working with in March, but first I'm going to reflect back at the decks that I have used in February. So for the past 2 months, I've been doing these videos as live streams, but I'm just really not in a place where I can live stream right now. I really hope to be bringing them back starting in April. However, for the month of March, I'll be just doing them as a video. So here is my little basket full of the decks that I used in February. So I'm going to start with those. So let's first start with the Legendary Ladies Oracle. And this is the deck that I wanted to do a deck study on. And I actually haven't been able to do that because I've been so busy. First of all, in the beginning of the month, I got COVID, so I wasn't feeling great. And yeah, this is the deck, Legendary Ladies. So this is a deck that I wanted to use for like general energies, and I do think I've used it for a pick a card reading. The March predictions, I definitely used this one because I literally just finished filming it. However, I wanted to do a deck study on this because I think that there's so much potential for this deck, and I think the images are gorgeous. The little guidebook is a little bit lacking, but there is like a full book that you can purchase with this deck. But I think that I should get enough information out of the stories by just looking them up. So that is what I plan to do for the deck study. And like I said, I wasn't able to do the deck study in February, so I'm going to take this deck with me in the month of March and do the deck study in March, because my Oracle deck studies take significantly less time than my tarot deck studies. So yeah, let's talk about the tarot deck that I did a deck study with in February. I did an entire video on this. So I did a deck study on the Muse Tarot. Let me get the notebook. This is the notebook that I did my deck study in. So let's see, here is the entire deck study. I did an entire video on this where I go through my interpretation of all of the cards, and I really enjoy this deck. I'm not gonna keep using this in March, even though I do have to say that I think that 1 month was not enough for me to truly get to know this deck through deck study and doing readings with these. I wasn't able to use this deck for a long time because I had it in order for my deck study. However, I did use it at the end of this month for some client readings. I don't know if I use this for, well, I use this for my March predictions, pick a card reading. So I really like this deck. I think it is so interesting. And in the month of February, I definitely got some renewed love for this deck because of, you know, the deck study. So yeah, I'm super excited about this deck. This deck is not going anywhere. This might be one of my favorite cards, the Queen of Materials here in this deck. And I also really love the Priestess. So yeah, there's not really much to say about this deck. I enjoyed working with this. I haven't worked with this as much as I would have liked to work with it in February, but that was mainly because of the deck study. I mean, doing a deck study in a deck is very intensive work, and that it is definitely working with the deck, but I wish I would have been able to do more readings with this deck. So let's do another Oracle deck. The Barberi Zodiac Oracle I really wanted to work with in February, and I have used it for a pick a card reading, but I just wasn't really feeling like I didn't feel, words. I didn't feel like there was a time specifically that I really wanted to reach for this deck. And I feel like I struggle with using Oracle decks in general, because I don't often feel the need to use Oracle decks just because I feel so connected to tarot decks, and I use tarot decks a lot. If I have any questions that I want guidance on, I tend to go for tarot decks instead of Oracle decks. So this is absolutely no dig at this Oracle deck because it is one of my favorites and I love working with this, and I did use it in a pick a card reading. I don't know, what did I use it for? I used it for one. I don't remember which one, but I'll link it in the cards. But yeah, that is the Barbieri Zodiac Oracle. I will be using another Oracle deck for the month of March, but yeah, I did work with it in February. It is one of my favorites, but I just don't tend to work with Oracle a lot. And the same goes for my Dark Mirror Oracle cards. I did use it for a pick a card reading, and I did an entire deck study on this deck that you can find. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit everything in the cards, but I might link them in the description box. But yeah, I did a deck study on this deck, and I really wanted to work more with it, but I just haven't really found the right time, or I didn't really have the need to pull out this deck. And it is nothing against this deck, again, because I love it, and I think it definitely serves a purpose in my collection, but I didn't need it this month. So just gonna put it back in the box and back with the rest of my decks, because I have this little basket here. I keep that on my desk with the decks that I'm using for that month. Let's see what else is in here. I have my Oracle journal, my little book of spreads. Gonna take that out. Now next, the Mermaid Tarot. Keep it in my handmade bag, and this is the Mermaid Tarot. This was like my workhorse deck in the beginning of the month, because I wasn't able to use the Muse Tarot yet, and I think I also said that I wanted to work with the Tarot Renard, and I did a little bit, but in the end I sort of put it back with the rest of my decks, because I don't know, it wasn't the right time. So this was really the deck that I turned to for client readings, and I also did an entire pick a card reading with this, because I do feel connected to this, and I love the energy here. I think it's so beautiful, and there are such strong images and strong messages here within this deck. I find it fascinating how they were able to do the entire suit of wands underwater. Or at least, like, this is then above water, but still, I love this deck. I think it's beautiful. I really connected with this deck, and I do feel like I use it so much in the beginning of the month that I wasn't really drawn to use this nearing the end of the month, also because I had a couple of other decks that came in that I really wanted to work with. But yeah, this is Mermaid Tarot by Lisa Robertson. Absolutely love it. Let's see. Oh yeah, the Tarot. I think I wanted to work with the Tarot and the Rabbit Tarot, but that just wasn't practical, and I decided to use the Tarot over the Rabbit Tarot. However, I haven't really used this one as well, mostly because I think it's so cute. Look at this. It is adorable. I think the rat hair is gorgeous. It's beautiful. I love it. I love the art style. I love the depictions here, and there's so much to get out of here. I think what I need to do is to do a deck study with this before I try to use it again. And I don't know, because I really like this. However, I'm going to show you another deck in a minute that I got that sort of has the energy that I really wanted out of this deck. And this deck gives me different energy that I still appreciate and I still like, but sometimes it's a little tough, because right here I have to really be conscious of what number this is, because Roman letters, numbers, it's not really something that comes natural to me, and that's the case with another deck that I want to show you as well. But yeah, I haven't really been able to use this much. I think there's a lot of potential in this deck. I think it's adorable, I think it's cute, and I really want to work more with this in the future. But I feel like it wasn't the right time yet. So that is the Tarot, created by Nakisha. I got this from the Game Crafter, and I already have I'm sure that I already have the flip through of this up. So the one that I used instead was the Happy Tarot, because this one came in February. Oh my gosh, this was such an impulse buy, and the flip through of this deck is also already up. But this deck surprised me so much. Like I said, it was an impulse buy. And while it was on my way, I was like, oh, why did I get this? I already have some other decks on the way, and I got in quite a few decks this month. And I was like, why did I get this? And then I got it in my hands and I shuffled it. I love the shuffle with this deck. It is amazing. I love the size of the cards, because I'm pretty sure they are as long as regular tarot size, but they're a little bit narrower. And I love it. And I think that even though they are depicted as like sort of children, I don't think that they are children. Like here, of course, we have the baby, but we also have a couple of cards that I struggled with a little bit because it almost at first I thought like, is this the sexualization of children in this deck? And that was something that was like, oh wait, I don't like that. However, I think these are adults. I think they are adults. They have to be, with the way that some of these are depicted, and I see them as adults. So yeah, this is like I heard people say that this was like Candyland theme. I don't know. I don't think Candyland was a thing here where I live in the Netherlands, but the energy that I got from this deck, absolutely love it. So this is also one that I'm gonna keep working with in the month of March because I've just been feeling so connected to these. The backs are so cute. And I really want to work more with the Happy Tarot in March. And the last deck that I worked with in February is my Wild Unknown Pocket Tarot Pocket Edition. This I got as a gift, and I talked about that in my flip through of this deck. Okay, so I was not against, but I wasn't a fan of the Wild Unknown deck in general, like at the start. When I first got into tarot, I was like, okay, but why does everybody love this deck so much? I didn't understand. And now that I have it, I do understand. So this is the pocket edition. This is pretty papery, but I like it. And I've heard that the large edition of this deck comes on the same sort of cardstock, and I like that. Even though a lot of people have said that they don't like it, I do riffle shuffle this, and it's already like slightly bent. I don't know how well you can see that. It is already slightly bent. However, like right now, I'm content with the pocket edition and just the pocket edition. Maybe in the future, I would like the full-size edition. I have heard that because it was like recolored, and the Justice card, I don't know if I already passed it, but the Justice card was the reason that I wanted to get this deck because because we have the rainbow and we have the like redone, like how's the new like LGBTQ flag here with these colors. And that is as the Justice card. And this is the entire reason that I wanted this deck, because this is a recoloration of this deck. And apparently the full-size deck also has that. Anyway, I worked with this in February and I really enjoyed it. However, I found that some readings were super hard-hitting and they were like great hits and they were really intuitive and easy to read. And some other times I grabbed this deck to do a reading, I pulled out some cards and I was like, I don't know how this answers my question. And I just sort of put it away and grabbed another deck to do the same reading with, and that hit a lot better. So for now, it has been either great hits or like really misses. So I'm gonna put this away for the month of March. I'm not gonna be using this for March, but I will definitely pull this back in the relation after I'm done like these monthly tries with all of these decks. So those were the decks that I used in February. I still have my Dreaming Way Lenormand here. Haven't had the time to learn Lenormand, but I'm just gonna keep it in here as a reminder that I want to learn Lenormand. So now let's get started with the decks that I want to be using in March. The first one is my Afro Avatar Tarot, and I have kept this in my desk drawer, and I've pulled this out for personal readings, and that is what I want to use this for. I might also use them on my channel. I'm not going to be using them for client readings. This is my, like I said, my Afro Avatar Tarot, and this is about the Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I don't necessarily believe in soul decks, but this deck is gorgeous. I love this. It is created by coloredafros.com. She is also on Instagram. She is on Etsy. I got this deck from Etsy, and it's gorgeous. I love this deck with my whole heart. I definitely want to do a deck study with this. I'm not going to be doing that in March. I don't think that I'm going to be having the time to do that in March, because I have some other decks that I want to do deck studies in March instead. But this is definitely one that I want to keep in my relation for a long time. The only thing that I don't like about this is that it's almost like plastic cards, like super glossy, and the cards stick together because of that. It's also gilded, which does look pretty, but I don't think it helps with the sticking together. So this is a gorgeous deck. I absolutely love it. I'm gonna be using this for personal readings throughout the month, and I'm super excited to have it back to using because I missed this deck. Another deck that I really missed using was my Anna K Tarot. So I recently created my spreadsheet for all of my Oracle decks, my tarot decks, as well as what is on my wish list. And I am documenting when I last used the deck so I can keep track of when I actually use them, what I haven't used in a while, and what can I let go. This is one that I haven't used since last year. However, you know, we're still in February, we're going into March, so that doesn't say much, especially because I love this deck and I really genuinely missed working with this deck because I love it. It feels great in my hands. As soon as I got it, this is a secondhand deck. I etched it in black and I immediately resonated with it. I immediately connected with it and I love it. This is so emotive. It feels like for some of these are like zoomed in and there's you can really see like the emotions in some of these cards, and I think that that is so powerful, and this gives me such accurate readings. I feel like I don't need a lot of cards to read with this, while for instance the Wild Unknown tarot deck that I showed earlier, I do feel like I need more cards to really do a reading with it. But for this one, I don't. I love this deck. I have missed using it. I'm going to be using this for, first of all, to just have more bonding time because I missed it. I want to work with it again. But also I want to use this for client readings because I think that I could do some really great work with this for anyone who books a reading with me. You can always book a reading with me through the links in the description box, either through my Etsy shop or my Ko-fi page. So this is the Anna K Tarot, and I'm going to be working with this again in March, and I'm super happy to be working with it again. So to keep up with the yellow theme, here is my Good Karma Tarot, and that is another deck that I really want to be working with in the month of March, as are all of these decks. I keep my Golden Healer crystal with this, but yeah, I haven't used this deck since last year either. And I think this is, I don't know what this is about this deck. It is not a chopping block deck. I think I kept this in my hell yeah, like hard stay category when I did that video of dividing all of my decks into 3 categories. And this was a hard stay, I think. But I haven't used this a lot, but I think that there's so much potential in this, and I think this is going to be great for client readings, for anybody. Like, it has gentle messaging, but it still tells you what you need to hear, but it tells you in a more gentle way, and I really appreciate that, especially for client readings, when you want to tell them what they need to hear, but you also want to be gentle in your messaging. And sometimes I find it with some of my decks, like my Dreaming Way Tarot, that one is really hard hitting and it really is like a no bullshit deck. And this is not a bullshit deck, but sometimes with those hard hitting decks, it can be really hard to sort of make the message a little bit more gentle for my clients or for the pick a card readings that I do. And this one helps me with that because I feel like it already brings the message in a kinder way. So the Good Karma Tarot, definitely want to use this because I haven't used it in a long time. And I sort of want to know, do I still connect with this deck? Is this still a deck that I really want to keep? Because I love the idea of this deck. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's beautiful. I love the yellow backs. Yellow is one of my favorite colors. However, I haven't been drawn to use this deck. So I don't know if I'm gonna do a deck study with this. I don't think so. But I do want to work with this a little bit more, and I also kept out the guidebook that comes with this deck, and I might want to read it in the month of March as well. Now let's move on to another tarot deck. This is the last, no, this is not the last tarot deck, because the other one, let me just do that one first. The other one was a Happy Tarot that I'm also going to keep here in the thing here, in the basket, because I already talked about it. I want to work with it more, and this is the Magical Dogs tarot deck because I love it and I think this is such an underrated deck, and this is one that I want to do a deck study on. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this in March because I do want to do a deck study with the Legendary Ladies Oracle that I'm going to pull out in a second, as well as the other Oracle deck that I'm going to pull out for the month of March. But if I have time to do a tarot deck, this is so cute, to do a tarot deck study, then I definitely want to do one with this, because there is so much in these cards that help you with, or help me at least, with the meaning of the cards. And this is one of the decks that really helped me grow in my tarot practice, not just because of the images, but also because of the guidebook. I also pulled out the guidebook here because I want to read that, and I want to use it for the deck study if I'm going to be able to do one. And I think I just love this. This looks like the dog of my parents-in-law. And I love these cards. I love the messages that I get with these. They are so easy and intuitive to read with. I don't know if I'm going to be able to use this for client readings, because even though I think this could be great for client readings, like messaging wise and like voice wise, I don't know if people are necessarily waiting for like to book a reading, like pay for a reading, and that having me pull out a deck with dogs. So, you know, not everybody would appreciate that. However, I love this deck so much, and I definitely want to use this for personal readings as well as for pick a card readings on the channel, because I absolutely love it. Then let's first pull back the Legendary Ladies Oracle, because I want to do a deck study on it, and I already talked extensively about it in the decks that I want to work with in February. And then the other Oracle deck that I want to be working with is the Queen of the Moon Oracle. I purchased this in the month of February, so let me open it up. I have already filmed the flip through of this. I don't think that is up already. I'm pretty sure it's not. But this is the Queen of the Moon Oracle, and I have had my trouble with moon oracles because I already have had the original Moonology, I've had the Moonology manifestation, and those did not resonate with me, just not at all. And I really hoped that this one I will resonate with. So I want to do a deck study with this. I'm definitely first going to do a deck study with the Legendary Ladies, then with the Queen of the Moon, and if I still have anything in me left, any energy left for another deck study, then I will be doing the one on the Magical Dogs Tarot. But yeah, this I really hope that the keywords will help me connect more with these cards than with the Moonology decks, and I really like the way that this was set up. I talk about all of the ways that I like, or the way that this is set up in my flip through that I hope to be having up somewhere in the month of March. I don't know my uploading schedule anymore, because I'm gonna upload 2 videos a month instead of 3 videos a month. And even though I like flip throughs, I don't like them to be like, if I only upload 2 videos a month or 2 videos a week, for one of them to be a flip through. I sort of feel like that is wasting space when I could also do a pick a card reading or something else like that. So this is, I can't zoom out any further, but this is the basket with all of the decks that I'm going to be working with in March. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments down below what decks you will be working with in the month of March and what your thoughts are on my picks. Yeah, if you want to book a personal one-on-one tarot reading with me, you can do so through the link in the description box below. The links will take you either to my Etsy shop or my Ko-fi page. And if you want to see more videos on tarot decks, tarot chats, pick a card readings, all that fun stuff, definitely subscribe to this channel. I would love to have you here. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.